Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Elliot, and I'm the marketing manager here at Hand Business Solutions. Just before we start, I want to thank you for everybody for attending today's webinar, where we are going to be talking about secure file transfer and today's regulatory compliance with GlobalScape. Just going to quickly put it into presentation for you. Just quickly, I'm going to go through what we are as a company, and then go through some of our customers, the global reach we have, and then explain the journey of your data. And that phrase right there is sort of Hand in a nutshell, really, and how we've exceeded the way we have. And then finally, I'm going to go through the products and services before I hand over to Chris Vacker at GlobalScape. Just some quick fire facts for you before I go into the main focus of the slide. We were established in 2006, and we are 100% privately owned. We have over 500 customers across the world, and we have offices in the UK, Singapore, and Malaysia. Okay. Hand Business Solutions is a global master partner. We have been for a number of years now, and they are actually our biggest vendor. GlobalScape ensures the reliability of mission-critical operations by securing sensitive data and intellectual property. Now the main focus of this slide, as you can see, there's four red boxes on the left-hand side here. This is where we've broken down into our solutions to simplify everything. First of all, we've got identifying your data. As you can see, this is data classification, access, and permission management. This is where you need to be able to understand your data and make sure it's classified, and more importantly, make sure it's classified correctly. Then we move into exchanging the data, and this is where GlobalScape really come into their own. As you can see, they manage file transfer, data automation, secure email. I will let Chris Vacker talk about that shortly, as he'll go into more depth about GlobalScape and what they do. Then we move into securing your data. This is large DLP and encrypting your data and making sure it's secure at all times. And then finally, we have data view. This is the business intelligence. It's not just understanding if your data has security around it, but it's actually finding out who has access to the data, the visibility of it, and making sure it is also secure at every stage of its journey. As you can see at the bottom there, the strapline is securing the journey of your data, and that is Hand. We will ensure that your data is secure at every single stage, and this is why we've broken it down into these 4 stages, so it simplifies it for you, and you can trust us that it's safe at every single stage. I'm just going to quickly run through some of our customers we have for you. I'm not going to spend very long on these slides, but as you can see, we have some massive companies here all across the world. Just going to point out one, Centrica. That is a current GlobalScape customer of ours. This slide here as well, linking back to the first slide when we were talking about offices we have in the UK, Malaysia, and Singapore. Although we only have offices in those 3 countries, as you can see, we are doing business in a number of different countries. Currently, it's 23 countries we're doing business in, and we're always looking to expand this and further our reach. This is really the most important side of all. I'm just going to quickly open it all up for you. It may look slightly worrying and bit in too much detail to begin with, but what I'm going to do is just run through the red boxes at the bottom here. Is that simplifies it. So first of all, you've got creating the data, and when it first starts to be used, the moment it's created, this is when it initially comes into use. So this is where you have the data classification and identity access management. And then we move into when it's at rest. So once it has actually been created and it's not being used, when it is at rest, this is essential, as a lot of people think that if it's not being used and it's just sort of sat there, it's not a risk. But in actual fact, this is when it is most at risk. So we will ensure that even when your data is resting, we will secure it at all stages. Then we start to move into the data integration and data workflows. As you can see, translation mapping, data management, and most importantly, managed file transfer. And again, this is where GlobalScape really do come into their own, and Chris will be explaining this in more detail later. We then start moving into the data exchange. And again, this is where we'll make sure that your security of your data is secure internally for emails and then externally when it is actually out there. So as you can very quickly see from that workflow there, we'll secure your data at every stage of its journey. Finally, I'm just going to run through some of the remaining products and services we have available here at hand. At hand, we've done business with some of the biggest vendors across the world, and this is in a number of different solutions in data security and different products. We'll offer you consultancy services and benchmarking. We'll actually sit on the customer side of things and evaluate the market. We will show you what solution and product is actually right for you, rather than just give you any product whatsoever. Once you've actually selected a product, we can also design and install this for you. Our technical experts will make sure you are satisfied and the product is working correctly. They have great knowledge of all of our products and solutions. So they can also train you and make sure that you understand the product and how it works. So you're not just relying on support. Although we do offer 24/7 support, and you can receive this support from our experts here at hand and also from GlobalScape. I'm now going to pass over to Chris Backer at GlobalScape, so just bear with me for one moment. Are you there, Chris?
We are, Elliot.
Okay.
Thanks for that. And I'm assuming that you're seeing my side of the desktop.
Yeah, that's working fine, Chris, just to let you know.
Good deal. So just a very, very short video explains who we are.
It may be big data, little data, or any kind of data in between. The problem is you need to securely move this data to internal departments and business partners worldwide. Oh, and those internal departments and business partners also have data they need to send to you. Now, when you add in the fact that all of this data has to be tracked, reported on, audited, and sent to certain places, it gets confusing. But don't worry. That's where we come in. We're GlobalScape, and our software suite can help you securely send and receive data anywhere you like. Whether it's megabytes, gigabytes, or terabytes, we have a solution for you. Or maybe you need to comply with government regulations, or you need to automate complex actions. We can help. We work with companies around the world, helping them set up the right solution. So why not give us a try? With GlobalScape software, you'll get the simplicity you want, the stability you need, and the security you require.
All right, so that was just a brief video, a little bit about who GlobalScape is, what we do, what we provide, managed file transfer. We have three primary product lines, and I'm just going to be real brief about those because I know that the topic today is compliance, and we will get to that here very quickly as we get into the actual application and look at the features there that can help you achieve compliance. But the Enhanced File Transfer is our managed file transfer flagship solution. We also have a person-to-person secure file transfer solution that we call MailExpress. Now, MailExpress, while it has the name Mail attached to it, it is truly a web-based secure file transfer self-service online system. The reason you see the Mail edition there is because it also has a very nice Outlook add-in. So it's very transparent and, once again, self-service for those folks inside an organization needing to securely trade files. And then we also have a product called WAFs, or Wide Area File Services. Now, this is a collaboration or replication product. Excellent replacement for Microsoft DFS-R We get a lot of folks looking to replace DFSR because of the complications and then file locking issues that you run into. We could talk more in depth about any of these products. Today, though, we're here really to talk about compliance and how that our products can help you achieve the compliance, the regulatory mandates that you may be dealing with. So in the European Union and the UK in particular, you have a lot of different entities that you have to deal with, whether you're financial under FSA regulatory compliance, whether you're have to deal with COCO, PCI, DSS, you may be dealing with that, and the myriad of other types of compliance that seem to pop up and get more and more stringent every year. In the UK in particular, the Information Commissioner's Office now has the ability to impose fines, and just last year, the European Union also enacted some new policies. So what we provide in our products are some of the things that you see here on the right, some of the capabilities to help you once again achieve that compliance. And I'm going to touch on these briefly. We provide secure transport protocols. We have a very well-established DMZ proxy model. We provide the different types of ciphers and algorithms that are required on some networks, password management, access control. We have built-in PGP that's easy to use, so also helping you to secure data at rest or if you're exchanging keys with partners. All of these features are built in, once again, and making it a lot easier, making your life a lot easier, whether you're an administrator, a network admin, a compliance officer, whatever your job may be. We have the tools and to make it easier for you to achieve that compliance. So the first thing I want to talk about is our proxy. And this is a very simplistic drawing. We could get more into details if you're interested, of course. The idea of this webinar is to get you to follow up, or for us to follow up with you and get you to an actual demo where we can take you through the product at a much slower pace and explain the different aspects. But what the DMZ Gateway provides is it essentially is a proxy that will sit in a zone, which typically is a DMZ, and then you have your EFT or your file transfer or your Mail Express server inside the corporate network. Now, it's very unique in the way that the connection sequence works, as opposed to a traditional proxy, which would terminate the connection in the DMZ, and then you would create yet another new connection from the outside in. Ours is the reverse of that. So if you read through these 1 through 4 points over here, you'll notice that EFT or Mail Express always initiates the connection from the inside out. So that's the number 1 line. The connection is always initiated from the inside out. That means you don't have to open a hole in this firewall to allow a connection in. Once a client connects from the outside to the DMZ gateway, there is a termination that takes place, and that's where there becomes some conversion, and the DMZ does its magic, so to speak, and will stream that connection back through to the EFT server. So I'd be glad to take you through more an in-depth discovery of how this connection sequence works. We also have help documentation around it that can speak more to it on a technical level and get down to the nuts and bolts of it. But essentially the idea is that with this proxy, you never have any data in the DMZ. You don't have to open an inbound hole in this back-end firewall. There's no authentication that takes place. There's no keys that need to be stored out there. And those benefits that I'm speaking of are right there on the screen now. So once again, this is a very easy proxy to set up and maintain, and is PCI, fits right in with the PCI compliance and other compliance as well. So with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually jump to, some virtual machines here where we have the EST software running. And I want to just very quickly walk you through a few of the features that I think that you will find interesting. So the first one would be we've made it easy through our wizards to help you set up a site that will fall into compliance. So if you look at this wizard here, for example, we're going to build what we call a site. And one of the options is to build a site that is compliant with PCI DSS. So what we've done is we've taken the specifications from PCI and we've mapped those specifications to features. So it makes your life much easier in building a PCI site. Now, while I say PCI, if you think about PCI, it's a very well-written specification. And what that means is that if you're setting up a site to comply with PCI, and I'm clicking through the wizard now, I'm going to just go through this, then the chances are is you're in compliance with the other mandates as well. While they may vary from the Data Protection Act to PCI, they're going to be very closely aligned in general. So what this wizard will do is it will ask you pertinent questions. We'll just change this to something else about the specifications. So here we run into one about the DMZ in general. Now, if you have the DMZ gateway in place, then you can just simply attach to it. It's already been installed in your DMZ, and therefore we should be able to connect to it. We can test the connection, and we have to enter the right port number, of course. And we have a good connection to the DMZ, so that we just solved our DMZ component of this requirement. Now, if you don't, and you're not using the gateway, maybe you have some other proxy or you're using some other methodology to set EFT up in a PCI or some other compliance, then you can certainly use this option here, but you'll need to define a compensating control. And the reason we do this is because all of this is being recorded into a database, and you can generate reports against this information. So not only becoming compliant, but staying compliant is very important. If someone tries to take the system out of compliance, if an admin logs in and makes a change, you can be alerted on that. That gets recorded, and we'll see more about that. But as I click through this, we can see that the wizard continue to ask me questions about it. So it's wanting me to change the default port. It's telling me that you're using a vendor-supplied default port. So it would, and that's not allowed. So with a specification, I would need to actually change the port. Now what I'm going to do is, rather than spend time on the demo, I'm going to just go ahead and enter a compensating control. And of course, it would be more detailed in the real world. Once again, the wizard asked me questions about another requirement, data storage. So as I am concerned about my data retention policy, then I can set up the EFT server to actually automatically delete files older than so many days. I'm not going to spend time going through every single screen for this webinar, but note that there are probably at least another good 8 screens here that we would see with pertinent questions around compliance. So once again, the point is we've made it easy for you to set this up. We've done a lot of the research and a lot of the legwork for you. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of this. Now I do want to walk you through just a few more features. If we go to the site level here, what we call the site level, we can see that we're on the security tab. And as far as that housekeeping or that deletion of files, we can see that we can actually set some different levels of file deletion. And remember, this is invoked by an automatic process, a scheduled process that you will set up. And so when you define this data sanitization feature, it's very easy to actually set that up using, the wizard would have done it for us as we saw earlier, but of course anything that you can do with a wizard you can always come back and do manually. We could choose the scheduler. Using the scheduler, we can define the date and time we want the scheduler to run, and then we see our cleanup action here. So actually, we would define, this is the same thing we saw in the wizard, I would just be coming back and doing it manually. And this is going to use whatever I have set on the data sanitization option we saw earlier. There are also password options, so quite a few different password options as far as password expiration. Now, because we can bind to different authentication sources such as Active Directory, in the case of Active Directory or some other LDAP connection, you would be relying on those authentication sources to manage your passwords. But because we also provide our own authentication handlers, then we provide these options here. And PCI, for example, has requirements around password expiration, password changes. So all of the features that you would expect exist there. Because, once again, the information is being recorded into a database, you have the ability to actually run reports. And we have a compliance report that can be run, generated. Remember, this is all being recorded into a database. And you can see here if you have a warning, if you have a failure. So once again, it's not just about achieving compliance, but it's about staying in compliance as well. So these reports can be quite handy or necessary. This can also be automated. These reports can be automated and delivered via email or dropped into a folder, and an email can be sent letting somebody know that the report is available to be viewed. So once again, I'm touching only on just a few of the capabilities when it comes to compliance. There are far too many to get into in this short webinar, but we would be glad to take you through a much deeper dive into the product set. So with that, I'm going to go back to our presentation. Just wanted to let everyone know that we will be in Earl's Court for info security, and that's coming up on April the 29th. And we'll be at Stand K60 along with HAND, our partner. The representatives from HAND will also be there. Yes.
Has been a leader in the industry for some time, and is an expert at basically assisting the customer with anything that goes wrong with their managed file transfers. First of all, provide military-grade security. Definitely provide solutions that take care of the customer's data. I mean, we do business day-to-day, exchanging sensitive information. In fact, that Global provides a secure protocol within all the entities. And so I'd have to say they're still and have been the lead for quite some time to manage file transfer.
So just a quick customer testimonial. That is one of our clients that spoke on our behalf. And we can certainly demonstrate live to you on the stand at the info security event in Earl's Court. With that, I'm going to hand it back over to you, Elliot.
Okay, thank you for that, Chris. Just going to see if there is any questions for you. Haven't had any come up so far, but we'll leave it a minute just to see if there is any questions anybody would like to ask in the chat box for us. And yeah, just to further Chris's point and let everybody know, we are going to be attending InfoSec, and it would be great if you are attending to be able to come over to our stands. We're going to be there representing a number of our vendors as well, so I'm sure you'll see us floating around the place on a few different stands, so hopefully you can come over and speak with us. doesn't look like we're going to have any questions, Chris. So I think we'll end that there. Just want to say thank you to everybody for attending today. And we will be giving you a call next week just to follow up on this. And if you've got to have any comments or questions you would like to add, please let us know then. Thanks very much for attending today.